Guys, so I wanted to start my video again by thanking everybody that's watched so far and who's subscribed and who's been so kind to leave comments, and I just want you to know that it really means a lot to me, and it's really been super supportive and so encouraging to hear your stories and just to have someone to talk to who understands and just who's kind enough to reach out, and that means a lot to me, and I just thank you. And I wanted to also say that I have watched a couple of my videos, and I see the word way too much. I think I already said it once in this video. So if you were using my videos as a form of drinking entertainment, I don't know why, but people do things, you'd all be, you'd all have major alcohol poisoning. That's 3 already in like 30 seconds. I'm gonna make it a point to not say that word. It's a filler word, and I don't know why I use it. I think it's because I don't rehearse what I'm gonna say. I just kind of say it, and I just go with what kind of comes to my head, and that sometimes it's it's just instead of awkward pause, I guess you could say. But anyway, I'm really gonna try not to do that, and that's why I don't watch any of my videos before I upload them, because nothing will get uploaded, because I am my own worst critic, and nothing would make it on here. But I think what I would like to say as far as this video goes, something that has been bothering me a little bit, just frustrations I've had from watching other videos and from experiences at doctors and hospitals, is this need to label. This is why I don't make New Year's resolutions, because you see how good I keep everything. So yeah, I don't appreciate when people, especially people who have large followings, and I'm not trying to start any beef, and most of these people, I do enjoy their videos. I just I feel like you have to be very careful, especially on the internet, especially when you don't know who your audience is, when you're discussing eating disorders, and you're allowed to talk about whatever you want on your channel. And I feel like some people feel like they have to have the entire community, they have to be able to reach every single person. And that again, that's something, it's like a people pleasing peeve of ours. We people with eating disorders, we have to please everyone around us, so we have to make sure either we don't leave anybody out, or we include everyone, and we have to really feel part of everything sometimes, and I feel like sometimes you have to really watch, because if you say you have something and you don't, or you may not have the experience you claim you have, then you're really false leading a lot of people. And the thing with eating disorders is it's so much more than anorexia and bulimia. There's binge eating, there is EDNOS, which is, you could have like almost all the traits of bulimia and restrict at times, or you could have all of the traits of anorexia but binge and purge sometimes, and that would not classify you then as a full bulimic or a full anorexic. You would be then classified eating disorder not otherwise specified, which is still a very serious eating disorder. It's worse sometimes because you're not, that one of the main two, they really don't know what to do with you, and everyone, I think, feels a need to fit a label, and I think it's okay to not fit a label. I don't fit any labels. I mean, yes, I have been clinically diagnosed as a bulimic, and I have recently been clinically diagnosed with anorexia, but I'm not proud of them, you know, and I feel like I'm a lot more than those, and I feel like if you got to know me, you would know that I'm also a mother. I've written a book. I write poetry. I love children. I've, you know, ridden a motorcycle. I've done a lot of things in my life, and if that's all you got out of everything I told you, out of everything I tell you, if you're like, oh, but you're anorexic and that, or you're bulimic, that would kind of be like, gee, why did I bother doing anything else or experience anything else in my life, you know? I feel like they hold you back sometimes, and I don't know what to tell you. I'm hopelessly flawed. I can't control myself, but I'm trying. So I don't know. I just feel like, you know, sometimes you have to really maybe do a little bit more research, or not focus so much on constantly bringing up these disorders. You know, you can, it's your channel, you know, anybody who has a channel, it can be whatever you want. You can decide, I have an eating disorder and I am only going to discuss my eating disorder. That's fine. And you know what, you may still reach, like if I decided I only wanted to discuss bulimia, well, I still could get some people with anorexia and other eating disorders, because they may want to know what it's like to be bulimic. They don't know, and vice versa. So it doesn't mean you have to say you have or experience these disorders when you may not have. You may have actually something completely different, but you've never been diagnosed, and that's okay. But, you know, just be careful, because I was reading through some of the comments, and there was a comment where somebody was, you know, almost thanking her because they think that that's what they have, but they actually have binge eating disorder. And it seems like it's, you know, like an emotional eating type thing. And that, hey, I think most eating disorders are based off of emotion, whether we're eating our emotions, we're purging our emotions, we're pushing away our emotions. You know, it all stems from that, I think. And that, you know, but the poor person doesn't realize that that's not what they have, you know. And I think if you're going to really say, you know, you know, then you need to know at least enough where you have some actual backup. You've read something, you can give a little bit more than just your experience, because I don't believe it's correct. And that's just me. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are critiquing me too, and that's okay, and that's part of what I've accepted and being on here. Anyway, the other thing is with, you know, doctors too. You know, the minute that comes up in a diagnosis, so you're sitting down with them, and they see it come up in your paperwork, right away they go to their book, they go to whatever chapter it was that they read in medical school or whatever, you know, little knowledge they may have from an internship they did in a hospital setting or whatever, and, well, that's you. And it's like, not every anorexic is the same, not every bulimic's the same, not every binge eater's the same. You know, it's what makes eating disorders so much more complicated is that everybody does their eating disorder their own way. They has their own little twist to it, because it's such a personal disorder, you know. All right, I give up. Sorry. Maybe next video, okay? Next video. Anyway, I didn't even mean that. That one I really didn't mean. So, where I'm going with this is that I feel like I wish doctors could really, and people who don't know about eating disorders, could really hear the turmoil that goes on in our brains, and that it is so much more than a couple of pages in a book of this is what it is, and this is the symptoms, and this is why it usually happens because of this, that, and the third, and bundles it in a nice little package, and that's it. That's why you have this eating disorder. And it could be so much more. Like something that would trigger me or could have triggered my disorder may not have triggered yours, and vice versa. And it's so much more complex, and the simplification of it is disgusting, and it's insulting, to be honest with you, because it makes you feel like you're making a mountain out of a molehill, and it's like, no, you don't understand. This is more than a mountain. This is so much more. We're not. This is truly like trying to climb Mount Everest, trying to treat an eating disorder. It really is. It just doesn't, it's such a slippery slope of, getting better, relapsing, plateauing. There's so many things that make an eating disorder so hard to recover from, and it is so aggravating that they make it. Yeah, I have been told, just go home and try to eat a little more. Really? Tricked out at, $3,000 again. I mean, come on. I'll give you an example. Okay? Last night, I was really having a hard time. I did not want to use my pump. I can't tell you why. There are nights I use my pump and it doesn't bother me, and I do my night feedings, and I'll admit I feel better in the morning, and I don't notice it, and I do. It is a beneficial and positive experience. I don't know why I don't. That's the part of it. It's a constant battle at night, every night. Every second of your day is this eating disorder, whether it's, oh, it's nighttime, and they're going to start bothering me about plugging into my pump, or, oh, it's morning, they're going to want to know when I'm going to have breakfast, and every single thing revolves around food, and it is so exhausting. It is so hard. Talk about, being a multitasker. You literally have to live two lives at the same time, because you could be having a conversation with somebody else, and you're having an eating disorder conversation at the same time. That person might not even realize it. Maybe, sometimes I think about the Brady Bunch episode with, Marsha and Jan. Jan's trying to like find her place in the family, and, everything is Marsha, 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 and she's like, having this internal battle. Yeah, that's it. That's the voice, pretty much. And, that's kind of what I feel like sometimes. So last night, I really did not want to use my pump. I just didn't. I didn't. I was okay. I had drank a lot of caffeine last night, and I was feeling like it's Friday night. I just want to have coffee. I don't want to have my pump. Plus, I tend to hook up, and it puts me to sleep. Probably because my body is like, everything's shut down, everything's slowed down, we're getting food, we have to reserve this now, it's now or never, we don't know when we're going to get it again. And I literally like fall into a coma, like within 10 minutes of plugging in. And that's a lot of the reason I don't like to hook up during the day, because with the kids, I mean, I would fall asleep, I'd be gone, my house would be trashed, the kids would be gone, the cats, the dogs, everyone would be like amok around the neighborhood, because I had to do a feeding. So I don't like that. I don't know. I'm a night owl. But more than that, I didn't want to use it. I didn't want to plug in. I didn't want that in me. I didn't want to know I was going to be full at some. Like, I don't know. I just didn't. And, I had even tried using reverse psychology on my own eating disorder. I told myself, Jean, sometimes, most times, in the morning, when you weigh yourself after a night of using the pump, you usually lose 6 ounces, 4 ounces. So if you plug in, you'll lose weight tomorrow. Like, I literally tried to reverse psychologize my eating disorder voice. That's how desperate I get sometimes. And sometimes it works. And it didn't. instead, it outsmarted me. And my husband had come in for the 10th time, and he means well. This has been very hard on him. We have a lot going on in our lives other than my eating disorder. This one has been particularly tricky on the family because I have never had anorexia and I don't know how to deal with it. And I am a nervous wreck, and I am scared, and I am lost, and I am panicked. I am having a hard time with my emotions. I am having a hard time watching how fast it is just spiraling out of control, and has taken things away from me. I am not working indefinitely at the moment. I mean, everything that I built myself up to this point has just fallen apart in a matter of a few months, and I'm powerless. I feel powerless because I don't know the first thing about how to deal with this this eating disorder. And with the bulimia, I battled it for so many years, 23 years, and to the point where sometimes I was in full-blown relapse and nobody around me knew because I could handle it. I knew what I needed to do to get through it, and it didn't affect anything. It didn't affect anybody around me. It didn't affect our lives the way this has. This is just, it's like being hit by an earthquake. It's just shaken everyone to the core, and it tears me up that it has, and that I couldn't contain it. But I know my husband means well, and this has been a great source of tension for us because he tends to push away on the days that I really need him to stick it out with me. But anyway, he came in and was like, do your pump, and went to bed. Well, I don't know. I was just like, I was done. Between the voice, between him, between this week, I was just like, no, I'm not doing it. And I let the voice win. And the voice said, well, we can either leave it there full and get yelled at in the morning and start another day off with, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing it? You're gonna die. And my kids hear it and then they stress out. Like, no. I set it up, filled it up, went through all the bother of putting a new bag on, priming it, to set it off and let it drip down my drain till it was empty. And then when I got up in the middle of the night, I made a cup of coffee and I put it next to the bed, and it looked like I had done it. I am ashamed. I'll admit it. And I know, even saying it, I was really questioning where I was going with this and if I was going to actually say it. Because I know you're probably thinking, why would you do that? Don't you want to get better? What about your kids? Think about your kids. I do want to get better, and I do think about my kids. And I'm sorry I did it, and I feel bad I did it, and I paid the price in the morning because all that caffeine I drank, my heart, I didn't feel like it had a steady beat for more than 5 minutes all day. And I was fighting going to the emergency room because I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I really thought I had done something, and if it wasn't until realizing that I did really drink a lot of caffeine, I really thought, between the purging this week, which has started up again because when I went in the hospital is kind of when it started up at sunrise, because I really had tried so hard to get a nutritionist or a dietitian or a therapist or somebody that could really understand what I was going through and help me, because part of why I went in was not only to get back on the feeding tube consistently and put on some weight, but to get back into eating some foods. And I felt like if I had continuously refused my tray, it would be held against me. And I felt like I wasn't getting the treatment I needed there, and so to stay there and be forced to stay there wasn't doing me any good anyway. And I got to the point where I cried. I had a panic attack. I had 2 panic attacks, but the first panic attack was about the food because I was so sick and tired of I actually spoke to somebody in the cafeteria who makes the food and told them what I would like, and they didn't send it out. And it was like, yeah, in the scheme of things, it was little and it was fixable, but it was the fact that, like, one, I was mad, I was hungry, and I was actually looking forward to that, to my lunch. And two, it shouldn't have to have been a fight. We were on day 7. It should not have still been a fight for me. You should have been able to put at least 2 things on the tray, even if you couldn't get everything right. Just throw 2 things and a cream of wheat or, cereal or something on there. You don't have to make those, it was the principle that I I don't know, I felt so, like, disregarded that I was like, forget it. I'll eat it. I'll eat all of it. And I did. And I purged it. And that was the worst thing I could have done. I know I let it take over because of my frustration. I was also very hungry and I gave into it, and I shouldn't have. And I had so much emotion, so much stress, and purging has always been a stress reliever for me, to be honest with you. So unfortunately, that was something that I took home with me. So not only did I not get what I needed, but I now had bulimia back in my life. So I was now fully restricting in any time I did eat anything, purging. So that was last week, and I figured between all of that, maybe I really did do something this time, and thankfully tonight I don't feel like that anymore. It has calmed down. I haven't drank any Red Bulls. I had 1 cup of coffee and I only took a few sips. But the point of it is that sometimes I can be stronger than my eating disorder, and sometimes I can't, and that's the disorder. And it's not that I don't love my children, and it's not that I don't want to get better, and it's not that I'm giving up. It's sometimes you fight this every second of every day. You just get tired, and you just can't. And I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, and that's why I wish doctors and people who who don't understand eating disorders really could just even accept it from us, even though we can't totally prove it, that it's so much more complex than how you make it out to be. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be so hard to recover from. I wish you could get a speaker, and if they could hear the thoughts and the endlessness of them, and there's no pausing, there's no breaks, there's no in the middle of the night, and you think about it. You wake up to go to the bathroom, you're thinking about it. The first thing in the morning, I know my heart is racing instantly because I have to get on the scale. I don't know why. I don't care. And it has to be at a certain point. I can't have my coffee. I have to pee. I mean, and God forbid my routine is disrupted. Oh my God. You would think that, gee, what did I do to her? No, you didn't really do anything to me. You just disrupted my disorder. It's not personal, but it definitely comes across that way, I'm sure. So anyway, I just wanted to make this video basically just saying that, I feel like it's okay to not know everything about every eating disorder if you have one. And some people, like me, I'm still learning about the eating disorder I'm dealing with right now. It's not the one I normally deal with. And let me tell you, it is very different from bulimia. Anorexia is very different from bulimia. And you don't realize it, but it is, and I'm sure binge eating is so much more different than binging and purging and anorexia, and EDNOS, whichever kind you're dealing with, is so much different. And I just don't feel like you should claim to have them all just so you feel like you can get the audience or that you can relate, because I think you can be doing an injustice to your viewers. And I think that also people really in general, I really feel like if you don't know, it's okay to ask, it's okay to look into it. I have somebody in my life right now who's very special to me, who is really going out of their way to learn about this because of me, and it's so touching because it really makes me feel like they care, and they truly care, and they want to help. And that is the best thing you can do for anybody, is to do it with an open heart, no judgment, not to label, not to compare, just to learn, because there's so much about eating disorders that people don't know, and it's why we can't get the treatment we need when we need it, and why it goes misdiagnosed and underdiagnosed, and why people are afraid to ask for help, because it's made to seem like it's not as bad as it is, and it is. And I just want to put that out there. So I hope you guys are all enjoying your weekend, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Good night.